What up, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here. And today we have a special guest all the way from Korea. You've seen him all over Twitter this week, reporting on the Dodgers' newest international signing, Hyun-Suk Jang, who they signed yesterday. He's ESPN's KBO Insider, Daniel Kim. You can follow him on the artist formerly known as Twitter X, Daniel Kim W. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us in the wee hours of the morning there in Korea.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a pretty busy 48 hours for me following Jang's signing with the Dodgers.
Yeah, you've been in big demand, right? Lots to talk about this guy, lots of hype. Now, the first thing I want to ask you is kind of rewind a little bit because Hyun-Suk Jang, this is a guy who would have been the first overall pick in the KBO draft. How tough a decision was that for him? Was he strongly considering the KBO, or was it always, hey, I'm going to go to the show?
From what I've heard, I think that it was a family decision. From what I've heard, he's been talking to a lot of different people, but it wasn't an easy decision. I think both options were pretty good for him. He, like you mentioned, he would have been a number one overall pick. He probably would have gotten similar money in terms of signing bonus, and he could have easily started his professional career in KBO, which I think would have been fine. That's what exactly Hyunjin Ryu did before he signed with the Dodgers back in 2013. So I think that there was no right or wrong answer here. I think it was more of when he came to fulfilling his potential. From what I've heard, he felt that signing with the Dodgers would be the best way possible for him to max out his possible potential, and that's the decision that he made.
Yeah, and I saw that he said that he dreamed of pitching both in the KBO and in Major League Baseball, but ultimately that he wanted to challenge himself in the best league in the world and decided to take his talents to Major League Baseball. What does that say about him as a player, his mindset, and just how he approaches the game? Because like you said, he could have started his career in the KBO. He could have gone the Hyunjin Ryu route where he was playing with the Hanwha Eagles before he made his way to the Dodgers. Just talk about just that decision and just the high hopes and just the belief that he has in himself.
I think that he's a super confident player on and off the field, and you definitely see that on the mound when he's pitching. And I think that he's someone with a very aggressive mind when it comes to pitching or making decisions. It's definitely, there's going to be a risk for him as well. He has to go to a whole new different culture, different language. He has to learn English. He will be away from family and friends. So I think that's another whole new set of challenge. But I think, I don't think he understands that. I mean, I cannot speak for him, but from speaking to people that are close to him, he's definitely, willing to take the chance. And also, he understands that it's not going to be easy, but he's up for it.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about that too. So you talk about the fit, Los Angeles, Koreatown, the lineage, the heritage, Chan-Ho Park. You got Hae-Sop Cho, you have Hyunjin Ryu. Kind of the list goes on and on and on. How big of a factor was that? The Dodgers brand, Los Angeles as a city, or is there another MLB team that was close, or was always the Dodgers for him?
There were several teams that were after Jang. Let me make it clear to that. There were, I would say, close to 10 teams that have shown interest in him. But when it comes to Dodgers, like you mentioned, it goes way back to the mid-90s when Chan-Ho Park became a first ever Korean major leaguer. And ever since then, Dodger games have been on TV here pretty much every day. When Hyunjin Ryu was pitching for the Dodgers from 2013 through 2019, all Dodger games were on national TV. So it's almost... Dodgers almost feel like another KBO League team, if it makes any sense, because we've seen them so many times. A lot of the fans are familiar with the history as well. So there's definitely a brand closeness when it comes to LA logo and Dodger Blue. And LA has really, Los Angeles is just, for a lot of us, it feels like another Korean city, because of the Korean American population. So that's another factor. But I'm sure those things really was somewhat of a factor. But when it came down to it, I think he wanted to go to an organization that would help him become the best version of Jang. And I think Dodgers organization probably had to do a little bit of a presentation explaining to him, planning out his career. So I think that probably won him over. Obviously, I'm not his agent. I'm not a member of his family, but from what I've heard, Dodgers did put together a really good effort trying to sign Hyun-Suk Jang.
Yeah, let's talk about that effort, because that's what I find most interesting about this acquisition, because the Dodgers, they spent almost all their $4.1 million in international bonus pool signing money. They didn't have enough to get him. And then all of a sudden, last Friday, they made that trade with the White Sox where they traded two pitchers. Aldrin Batista was recently promoted to low A Rancho, so it looked like they were proceeding with him. And then they end up trading away Maximo Martinez, and they get close to $1 million. So it felt like the Dodgers were out there trying to get money any way they could, just looking under couches, basically finding a way to get the money to get him. Talk about that process and how the Dodgers were able to make that trade to get the requisite funds to make this happen.
Well, weeks leading up to the signing, I spoke to several major league scouts, and a lot of them were saying we just don't have money right now. Money meaning the international pool money. It just wasn't there for a lot of the teams. And last year around this time, there was a pitcher named Hyun-Suk. He was considered a top pitching prospect, and he ended up signing with Pittsburgh Pirates, but he waited until January 15th of this year because the Pirates just didn't have money. So those of us here that were following closely in terms of Jang's career, we thought that may be a possibility where he could have a verbal agreement with a team with a major league organization and just wait until January 15th when a new signing period starts. So we knew that was going to be a possibility, but Dodgers were able to, like you said, come up with the enough space in their international pool money. And one of the things that I was closely following was, like you mentioned, the trade market. Not in terms of, big time players switching teams, but for us, international money was a factor. So a couple of days before the end of the trade deadline, St. Louis made a trade, I believe, with Texas Rangers, and international pool money was part of the trade. So that's when I thought that maybe the Texas Rangers were going to sign Jang, and this was like a few days ago. And then Texas Rangers ended up trading that money to Pittsburgh Pirates. So I thought that maybe Pittsburgh would be a front runner, just like last year with another pitcher named Shim. So I was following where the international pool money was being traded, while probably a lot of you are following what the players Dodgers were acquiring, but I was following the international pool side of it. But then, like you said, Dodgers were able to get that money, and here we are.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite thing about that is that what you just said right now is, everyone's following the trades that they did make, going out there and getting Kike Hernandez and Rosario and getting Lance Lynn and getting Joe Kelly. We can look back in 5 to 10 years, say that was the most important trade they made, trading off those two prospects to get that money, to be able to get Jang in this organization. And really, do you think it came down to international bonus pool signing money, or do you think it was fit plus the money, or do you think it came down to the Dodgers plus the fact they got the resources, or was there a team out there, if they had more money, that possibly would go that direction? Do you think there was a close second or third team, any other team out there?
I think all of the above. When it comes down to money is the most important part, as you know. But I think if the money was similar range, like from the start of this process, I heard that it was going to be $1 million or close to it. I think the market in terms of signing bonus, size of the signing bonus was pretty much set. It was going to be like close to $1 million. If it goes over $1 million, a little bit over $1 million, or a little bit less than $1 million, it ended up $900,000. So we were it was pretty accurate. So in terms of the money, the size of the signing bonus, we pretty much had an idea that where it was going to be, about $1 million. So I think it came down to Dodgers. I mean, it's one of the best organizations with one of the best programs in terms of developing new young players. So I think that probably won him over.
And so would you say this is similar to adding a second or third round pick or someone of that status, someone that really you don't even have to give up a draft pick for? You don't have to use a draft pick on. Also, you don't have to give that big signing bonus too. That's another added benefit. That's what I love most about this. But would you say is a second or third round talent?
Yeah, pretty much. I've spoken to several scouts, like I said, but a couple of scouts told me that he would be a low second round. Some scouts have told me that he would be like a fourth or late third, depending upon, which day you see him pitch, I guess.
Yeah.
Because of, the scouts have to travel all the way to Korea. So you may see him on a good day, or some scouts might have seen when he was not feeling too well. So, so I think it all goes down. I heard second, third, and fourth round. So basically, the Dodgers are having another extra pick in the draft. That would be the easy way to kind of see that's how you will see the whole situation.
Yeah, so a genius move. You add another talented player, a guy that has a big upside, lots of potential to be a future frontline starter. But you did bring up Hyun-Suk a few seconds ago. I want to ask you about how he compares him, because Hyun-Suk is a guy, 100-mile-per-hour fastball. This is someone that I think he withdrew at 18, right? He was a year younger than him. How does he compare? Is he in his tier?
Different opinions. I've heard scouts say that Jang is better than Shim. Only because he had a better command of the secondary pitches. You got to keep in mind that, both Shim and Jang, they were evaluated as high school seniors. So there are ways to go before they become a major league pitcher. But I've heard at this point last year, comparing Shim to Jang, most of the scouts that I've spoken to have said that Jang is a little bit advanced in terms of the secondary pitch. With the high fastball velo, Shim was a little bit faster, a little bit higher in terms of velo. But when it came to breaking balls, sliders, I've heard that Jang has a pretty good, impressive sweeper as well. So he does have more arsenal at this point in their careers.
Yeah, and that's what I've gathered so far. As you look at the velocity, he's touched 97, sits around 95, something in that range. But there was a big leap in velocity that took place in his high school career from his junior year to his senior year. How did that take place? Did he work with someone? What was that like?
Unfortunately, Driveline doesn't have a presence in Korea yet, but there's some facilities here in Korea locally that are very similar to Driveline. And he started out early last year in the low 90s, but by the time August came around, he was in the mid to upper 90s. So within a few months, his velo just shot up. I think it had to do with the training that he had at the facility. I know that velo was something that he was working on, and with right training, with right, type of workouts, he was able to see a huge increase in terms of velo, and he's been consistently hitting mid 90s since then. So I think his velo, I think he could actually, have a fast. Velo could be a little bit more increased as well when he goes to the Dodger organization. So I think there's more room for the growth. But he's been, he worked hard, and he's getting the results.
Yeah, and that's something I saw in an interview. They talked about his velocity. He said he, quote, wanted to be greedy and wants to throw over 99 miles per hour. So that tells me he wants to throw triple digit heat. So there's still a lot of upside there. When you look at his ceiling, do you think he projects as a number 1 or 2 starter if everything breaks right for him?
If everything goes well, yes, but everything has to go well. You know how these things work. So, there's so many obstacles. Injuries can happen. He may not make the necessary adjustments when he gets to Arizona and goes through the entire minor league process. So there's so many question marks there, but I'm sure that it's not going to be easy, but he kind of understands what he's getting into, because he's spoken to a lot of different people about the process. So I'm sure he'll be well prepared, but in terms of what's going to have, what kind of career he would have in the future, nobody knows. But it'll be interesting to see. He's considered one of the top pitching prospect to coming out of Korea the last 10 years. So we'll see. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and it's always tough to project, right? I mean, anytime you draft someone out of high school, you're looking at 4, possibly 5 years of development. But when you look at his velocity, when you look at his plus secondary pitches, you mentioned his sweeper. I've seen scouts say that is his second best pitch or one of his better pitches. When you look at his timeline, you think we're looking at 4 to 5 years?
Yeah. Just consider him now that he's signed. I believe he's going to have a press conference here in Korea in a few days, but when he gets to Arizona, Glendale, Arizona next spring, he just becomes another player in the Dodger minor league system. He has to go through the same process that everyone has to go through. So I think best case scenario will be 4 years, maybe sooner. That's up to his progress, I guess. So best 4 5 years, maybe a little bit sooner, but yeah.
Yeah, and with this player development, I definitely think you'll see them try to fast track it to an extent. You'll probably see him start in low A, probably in the Arizona League, but really, this is a long-term project, a guy that has the potential, he has the raw stuff, and they can mold him to a frontline starter. One thing I want to ask you, Daniel, though, is you look at the KBO, you look at the fans in Korea. How do they feel about this? I mean, last year, you lose Shim, right? And this year you lose Jang. Are they excited about the fact they're going to the show, or do you think they'd rather see him in the KBO and then go to the show?
Hanwha Eagles have the first overall pick, so the Eagles fans are a little bit upset that he's not entering the KBO draft. But all the other teams are, all the other fans are kind of excited to see possibly another Dodger, another Korean player in a Dodger uniform. So there's definitely an excitement there. The fans' reactions were a little bit split before the Dodgers signing, because they wanted to see him in KBO. But once a lot of the fans found out that it was going to be the Dodgers, they started changing a little bit, because there's so many Dodger fans here in Korea. So ever since Hyunjin Ryu left the Dodgers, there's been a little bit of a void in terms of Dodger fans that are in Korea. So possibility of seeing another Korean pitcher pitching at Dodger Stadium would be is something that Korean fans would like to see. So it's been shifting a little bit. Most of the fans are really excited about the signing.
Yeah, I kind of want to circle back a little bit to Dodgers fans in Korea. Would you say that the Dodgers are the number one most popular team in Korea?
Yes. In terms of amongst the Major League Baseball, yes. Yes, Ha-Sung Kim plays for San Diego right now, so they're gaining some traction. But in terms of real core, they're not really San Diego Padres fan. They're Ha-Sung Kim's fan. So it's a little bit different, if you know what I mean. They follow the players. So, but in terms of actual fans rooting a team, Dodgers are the most popular. That makes Dave Roberts a very unpopular man in Korea. Cody Bellinger is still very popular in Korea. He's now with the Cubs, but the Dodger team from 2019, 18, 17, the fans were part of the whole run. We felt really close to the Dodgers in those years, whether it's Cody Bellinger, Justin Turner, Kike's back. We go way back to 2013. Don Mattingly was the manager, Rick Honeycutt. So, I mean, from 2013 and 2019, the Korean fans are really closely following the Dodgers. So I think that there's definitely a connection there.
And we gave you the Dodgers, they gave us BTS. So, I mean, it's a good trade-off, right? There's popular over there's over here. So, yeah, I also want to ask you about the Dodgers and Padres game they're going to be playing in Seoul, Korea next year, March 20th and the 21st in 2024. You're talking about Ha-Sung Kim, the Padres, the Dodgers. I mean, that's going to be electric.
Yeah, no, definitely. We haven't had a major league team visiting Korea. Never. So this would be a first ever official visit by a major league organization, and it's a regular season game. These games count, so it matters. It's not some sort of a marketing event. These are 2 regular season games, so fans are excited. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Clayton Kershaw is still very popular here. His book was translated into Korea, and I believe it was one of the best sellers here in Korea as well. So he's still there. So fans are really excited. It's going to be fun. It's something that hasn't happened before, so fans are excited, and hopefully, they could put together a pretty good couple of good games, and yeah.
Yeah, no, it's going to be an absolute incredible atmosphere, really just expanding the game. Like you said, I love you brought up the fact that it does count, right? It's a regular season affair. So yeah, you got those 2 matchups, lots of stars on the field. You got Dave Roberts. The Korean fans can boo him if they want. They can chant fire Roberts if they have a problem with the move he makes. But yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting. Hotels are filling up fast. I'm hoping that could stay at your couch or something. If that's cool with you, I'm trying to go to the game. Is that cool, Daniel? What do you think?
Are you guys coming?
We're absolutely looking at coming, man. We have to be there, man. It's going to be historic.
Okay. Well, yeah, I do. We do have an extra room here, so more than welcome.
Awesome, man. I cannot wait. Well, we thank you so much for your time. I know it's very, very early. We appreciate all the information, breaking it down. Exciting times here. Dodgers fans are buzzing about this addition. Hyun-Suk Jang, the newest Korean to join this Dodgers organization. I think he's going to be a future star. I think he has electric stuff. I also think he has the approach, the mindset to be a superstar for this organization. But Daniel Kim, we appreciate you so much. You can follow him on Twitter, now X, at Daniel Kim W. Thank you so much, and we'll check in with you soon, my man.
Thanks for having me, guys.